Hello there, Cruiser, and welcome. I'm Shadow Lumox, and I'm here on F1 2021 to continue the My Team career for Bob Strong and Shadow Lumox Racing. We're up to round 9 now of Series 1, and we're here at the Austrian GP. We're going to go straight into one-shot qualifying. It's a track I really like. It's quite simple, very fast. Easy to lose a lot of time though in the braking zones. First corner is always nice. Going uphill means you can brake quite late, carry a load of speed in. Here, just braking just after the 100-meter mark. Get it down to about second gear. If you get it right, you'll know. Get through the corner quite straightforward. This is I had problems with this corner, and I still had problems with it there. And you see, I was doing quite well. The Ghost wasn't even in front of me. I was already 4 corners in. But it's a downhill braking, so I have trouble with it. This section is really fast. I think I'm braking too much for some of these corners, and then in the race I get too eager and I don't brake enough. But just drop down a few gears and drop down one more. Carry so much speed through these corners. And there we go. It's a very short lap, so you lose a little bit of time in it. It adds up quite a bit over the course of a race. And it's pretty strong qualifying. I think I end up in 9th. And so we move on to race day here in the Styrian Mountains. As I said, for the Austrian GP at as I know it, the Österreichring, but I don't think that's its name anymore. And as I said, just 10 turns, very short, 2 big straights, lots of speed, lots of fast speed corners. So let's see how the grid is going to line up. We've got Hamilton and Bottas with a Mercedes front row, which is actually quite strange for this playthrough. Then Verstappen and Norris, Sainz and Ricciardo, Leclerc, and there I am, Strong, Alonso and Gasly, Ocon and Tsunoda, Vettel and Perez, who took a grid penalty, and that's why I'm in 8th, Stroll and Schumacher, Russell and Armstrong, decent qualifying for my teammate there, Raikkonen and Latifi, and then Giovinazzi and Mazepin. Good job from Latifi, he's usually keeping Mazepin company back there. Take a few bites at the start, and they tend to run in too hot into turn 1. But after a few resets, I managed to get a clean start, which meant I could get a decent race. Go for the outside line, as I said. When I was taking the inside line, I was just running straight into people, and that wasn't good for my race. So I went for the outside line there, and let's throw it up the inside here. The AI at the beginning of the race have a tendency to break in a straight line, all in a line, which means you can get a few easy positions. Run Sainz a bit wide there, get my elbows out, brake then downhill into this corner, running a little wide so Norris can get a bit of a gap on me. Well, not so he can, but he does get a bit of a gap on me. My aim is really to try and keep pace with those up in front. I know my car still isn't as good as the Ferraris and the McLarens, but I don't have the AI on max, so I still expect myself to at least be able to keep some sort of pace. And as you can see, I can actually keep up with them if I keep the driving nice and tidy. Consistency is definitely an issue for me on this game, but I can tell I'm getting better. What I really need is a few days where I can just sit down and just play this game pretty much all day. Very liberal use of the track limits there, but I still manage to hold on to the car as it tries to spin out and hold my position just in front of Ricciardo, just behind Norris. I said I want to be able to spend a good few days just playing this game, but at the moment that's just not possible. Me trying to, me and my wife trying to get the flat ready for selling so we can get a newer, better place. So until then, I'm just jumping on to the game whenever I can and getting whatever playtime I can in as best I can, and hoping to remember whatever improvements I made last time. Had a bit of a sloppy end to the lap there. Ricardo managed to get in the last few corners, but I get the DRS here. I'm just reeling him in. Have a look at the inside there, but decided discretion is the better part of valor, and that I'd be better off served lining up the move into this corner after the second DRS zone, and that's exactly what I do. Nice bit of late braking, claim the apex, run him wide, not much he can do. I was quite happy with that. It was a very clean and tidy move, and it's sent Daniel all out of whack. Carlos was able to nick a place from him there. Clearly the emotional trauma from being overtaken by myself caused Danny to lose that place there to Carlos. So then I managed to hold that position at least for another lap. Boris is slowly pulling away in front of me, but now I've got the Ferrari for company with the mighty DRS assist. It is very mighty on this track. So I'm just hoping to hold, run a bit too much speed into that corner, run wide out the hairpin. I still managed to get off the corner okay, so hopefully I haven't set Carlos up for a move into this corner, one of my favourite overtaking places. And for the time being, I'm managing to hold this position. Just get on the accelerator just a bit too soon there, run out wide, get some dirt on the tyres. This ruins this section of the race for me. And a little poor editing there for a flashback, and I've had to concede the place for Carlos. Getting too much speed into the corner, run wide. Danny's got a good run on me now. Hopefully I can hold into the first corner, which I do. Bit of late braking, take a bit, run a bit wide as you're allowed. Even managed to ruin Danny's day to the point where the other Ferrari has managed to overtake him. Took 2 stabs at braking there, released the brakes, so I was braking too much, and then I ended up carrying too much speed in to the corner and just basically making a complete mess of it. But I managed to at least stay within DRS range of Carlos and outside of DRS range of Ricardo and Leclerc, so they're having their own personal battle behind me and leaving me with a little bit of space to bring it home. So we're on the last lap here. Strong 6th position. Should be well needed. Good haul of points for me as we come into the last corner. Probably the best I've taken it today. And boom, there we go. Nice 6th place finish there. Get some elbows out, racing. Managed to make a decent pass on Danny. It's a shame I had to let Carlos go. You can see Lewis was able to hold on for the win. And there we go, a Ham-Ver-Bot podium. Haven't seen that much, at least during this playthrough. Still managing to hold 5th in the constructors, just roughly about midfield in the driver's standing, which I'm quite happy with. And we go straight now into round 10, the British Grand Prix, my home Grand Prix. And again, another really fast circuit, but there are loads of corners, loads of places where you can make up time and lose time. Especially the Beckett section. Took me a while. Well, I say it took me a while. I still haven't got the hang of it, but definitely an improvement from when I first jumped into practice. I'm managing to hold a decent line and speed through the first half of the lap. We're coming down now here to a very fast right-handed section. Can't remember if it's cops or not. I always forget the names of corners and what order they come in. There's plenty of straights, plenty of corner names, this grand old circuit. But what you want to be doing there in those sections is sort of dropping down a gear for each of those corners, not braking too much, letting the engine brake in, doing the majority of the work. Again, just brake a little bit, drop down a few gears, just wait before you get on the accelerator. It's so easy to get on the accelerator too early and you'll just be going off wide and losing a load of time. Managed to at least stay within the top 15. It's my usual aim, especially when I said I'm coming to these tracks pretty much for the first time, even though through watching F1 I know them all quite well because I tend to play arcade racing games, mainly because that's what is available to me on the PlayStation at the moment. So I'm just not used to, I've lost my sim racing skills, to say the least. Then we're coming into race day now, and my favourite, it's typical British weather and it's pissing down. So we're going to have to deal with that. It's a Red Bull lockout this time, which is about normal from this playthrough, with Verstappen and Perez locking out the front row. Then the Mercedes pair, Hamilton and Bottas, Leclerc and Norris, Ricciardo and Sainz, Gasly and Alonso, Vettel and Tsunoda, then myself, Strong and Ocon, Stroll and Raikkonen, Russell and Giovinazzi, Schumacher and Latifi, and then my teammate Armstrong and Mazepin taking up the rear. As you can see, speed isn't exactly the strength of this car in speeding corners, but it is absolutely pouring down, full wet race, and I have quite a few bites at the start. I found finding it very easy just to spin up the wheels and just spin yourself right off the line. Very embarrassing way to start the race. But as usual, make up a few positions here at the start, taking advantage of the AI's tendency to brake in a straight line. And my aim with the other wet races is basically just not to lose loads of time. And I'm starting to get the hang of it. As I said, you want to, from what I learned in other wet races, you don't want to be trail braking into corners if possible. It's very easy to lock up and just aquaplane off. And you don't want to be getting on the accelerator too early, as I get a bit of attention there from Fernando Alonso and showing him almost zero racing room and keeping him just behind me. Makes another move there. Well, that was Tsunoda this time, or Tsunoda and Alonso. Whatever, my poor driving is holding up everyone behind me and resulting in chaos, as does usually happen when you have a much slower driver holding up a bunch of faster drivers. Well, you can see from the gaps to the car in front that I do have sections where I am either on pace or even maybe a little bit faster, but it's always corner exits. I'm getting on the power usually too early or too late. And even when I do get on the power at the right time, I'm way too heavy with that R2 trigger. And not heavy enough with the L2 trigger in that particular instance. And you want to be smooth on the throttle. So I get a warning there for a collision with Alonso as I decide to turn a blind eye to what's going on in my mirrors and just claim the racing line and make the other drivers deal with my lack of ability. So I run wide there. It's just, you gotta be so patient. Something I lack when it comes to racing. You've gotta let yourself get around the corner, let the car rotate before you get on the accelerator. The straighter the car is, the easier it is to accelerate away. If you're accelerating while turning, especially in wet conditions, the cars just don't like that at all. And yeah, not too bad that section, but again, braking too much. As you can see, we're 2 laps in, and Gasly ahead of me in 9th has already got pretty much a 5-second lead, but definitely an improvement on other wet races. And while it isn't completely obvious, I am sensing the small improvements in myself and my driving the more wet races I come across. Said, I still don't have the time to sit down with this game and put in a really decent session so I can really get on top of what I need to improve, rather than just trying to remember between play sessions, and it could be a week, maybe even 2 weeks apart. And if you're learning a game, it's not ideal. You want to really spend a good long time initially with the game. Once you get on top of how you're supposed to drive, how you're supposed to play, you find that you tend to retain that information a lot better. But while you're in the learning process, these big gaps between play sessions is just not useful. But I managed to hold off Sonoda there, which opened the door for our 4-time world champion in the Aston Martin, Seb Vettel, to take that place. And now I've got him for company as we go going through lap 3. And then said, it was really just an exercise in defending my position on the track without losing too much time. I know that if I am too slow, the AI will just pounce and take the position. So while I'm still losing time, although I gained a little bit of time through there, mainly probably from cutting the corner, there we go then, too much speed into this little slow chicane, and it just ruins your exit from the corner, which ruins your speed onto this straight, and it just the time loss just compounds itself over and over. I've had trouble maintaining my line through that little section. I'm wondering if it's more down to the aero on the car rather than my poor driving, although it probably doesn't help. But again, nice drive out there onto this little straight. Got Seb just out of DRS range, and then I throw it all away by braking just a bit too late, which means I have to wait ages for the car to rotate before I can get on the accelerator, even briefly, to the next corner. That time loss just adds up, and there we go. Seb is now right back on my tail, sniffing away at the gearbox of my car. We come now into the Beckett section again. So just drop down a gear every time you hit one of these corners. Don't want to be on the brake too much, even though it is raining. Let the engine braking deal with your braking for those corners. That way you can carry as much speed as possible. Take that, not too bad. Take a little bit of cut on the inside, but it's not too detrimental to the race. And again, what is becoming my line, brake too little into the chicane, run wide, then have to compromise my line then the following section of corners. We're now onto the last lap. And it's just can I hold on for a point? I'd be very happy with holding on for a point. As you can see, Gasly in ninth is already 10 seconds up the road after 5 laps, which is not good. Not good in the slightest. Pretty certain that if I wasn't defending so aggressively, I would be fighting it out with my teammate and Mazepin at the back of the grid. But as it is, I'm still holding on, and then I lose it. I run wide, get a little tap from Ocon there behind me, cause chaos in the background, but it means it has left me and Seb with the ability to just drive clear. Got Raikkonen behind me now, but I've got a decent gap. And 2.3 seconds, considering this is me in the wet weather, it would be very easy for Kimi to make up that gap. But getting better through the last section, so I'm able to hold, lose only a few tenths. And as we're coming up to the final part of the race, you can see Max has already won with a very healthy lead over me. But we come into the final section now. I'm just trying to stick with Seb. You can see he's always getting a little 10th at 2 on me in every single corner. We come home to finish, unfortunately just outside the points in 11th. But I will take that. Don't expect a points finish in every single race, especially with a midfield car. But you can see Max and Sergio hold out to lock it out for Red Bull, first and second. And I'm still occupying the middle of the standings in the constructors and the drivers standing quite nicely. So that's the end of those 2 races. Just want to say diolch and thank you for watching.